All right, welcome back to St. Aubrey. Let's do a quick flight in the Hunter X-Stol. This is a great plane, and one of the first things that you notice is that it goes physical for just a few seconds when it first shows up, and this is so that it will then hit the ground in the appropriate attitude that it needs to be as a tail dragger. It's one of the things with Second Life. If you try to res a tail dragger, it usually ends up a little high. And there are two ways that you can accommodate that. And one of them is to make it go physical for a few seconds. So we'll just hop right in. And the first thing you notice is that it will take over your camera, which this is there's a reason for that. If you follow the checklist, you really just have to do three things. The master on is here, and then the fuel pump, and followed by the starter. But we're going to turn everything on. So master on, fuel pump on, and we'll turn all our accessories and lights on as well, so you get a chance to see them all. And then we'll start the engine. Then it puts you outside. You get to hear the Rotax engine. This is like a Kit Fox type airplane. It's pretty nice. I don't think it has brakes, but it tends to need a little bit of throttle before you can do a little turning with it. So we'll give it 5% throttle. And we're going to do a flaps up, or flaps down takeoff to begin. So let's just taxi over here to the runway. We'll do a STOL, that's short takeoff. STOL takeoff, and we'll just see how she flies with the flaps down. So if you wanted to fly this thing in just a single sim, it'd be very easy to do with the flaps down and with the flaps up, especially with the flaps down, since they do slow you down a little bit. So we're at about 15% of throttle now. I'm just going to get it up to about 35. We get a little bit of speed, and then I pull back, and we're already airborne. So at this configuration, you're able to just kind of fly around whatever sim you're in. And you can see it from the outside as well. It's pretty easy to stay even in half a sim when you're in this configuration. Now the plane has a tendency to right itself. That's primarily with the flaps down, which I'm going to kind of show you the difference. If I put the flaps up, I need a little bit more throttle in order to keep level. But now the plane doesn't want to right itself. It will just hold the attitude that you set, which is also nice. This plane has the ability to do coordinated turns without needing rudder input, which is nice too. A coordinated turn is a turn where the roll, which is this, and the yaw, which is that, happen basically at the same time. And with this aircraft, all you really have to do is set a roll, and then it does the yaw all by itself. And it'll just keep on happily turning around in a circle. As you can see, we're turning around a single point, which is this blue object right here, and that's coincidental, but it's pretty nice that it'll do that. I haven't even really had to give it much additional input in order to keep in a reasonable proximity of the target. Now let's see what else you can do. I'm going to do a little power off stall. Let's see how she behaves in a stall. I'll take the throttle slowly down to almost nothing, and you can see then the nose begins to drop at about 20 or so. And a power up or power on stall we want to try to do with our pitch for the most part. You can sometimes do a loop with this, but if you don't have quite enough, it should give you a little warning. There we go. There's a little stall warning, and then the nose comes down to get you out of the stall. Now let's see what happens with the flaps down. With the flaps down, as you can see, it has a tendency to self-level. So this is very useful, especially if you want to not have to worry about rudder when you're landing. It'll just center it for you, and you can sort of point it right where you want. So if we try a stall now, since we've got a little more lift, you can see it'll almost hold down to 0, but not quite. It begins to lose lift at about 15% of throttle, right about here, where it just can't really hold on anymore. So I'm going to put the flaps up, take us up to about 55% of throttle. We've already seen that it'll easily do a coordinated turn, but let's try a couple of more aggressive maneuvers. This will be a loop, which will need a lot of thrust to begin with, so we don't stall out on the way up. So I'm going to give us about 90% or 100% of throttle on the way up. Once we come around here, I'm going to back us off to about 30, and we'll finish the loop. Just like that. And this is what it looks like from the outside. We're going to really crank that throttle up, pull up into the vertical as we come over the top, reduce the throttle for the bottom half of the loop. In the same way that you can do roll, although I'm not sure about inverted flight with this aircraft. I think it will sustain inverted flight, although I'm not sure that the real one can. But if we just invert and then we use our rudder, you can kind of see it'll still maintain the inverted attitude. That's what it looks like from the inside. So, since it has that automatic coordinated turn, when you do a roll like that, you're going to automatically do basically a barrel roll. So if you want to do a barrel roll, you really just have to do a roll. So let's just do one last thing, and I'm sure just doing a plain old runway landing is a little bit too boring. So what we'll try is, let's see if we can do a crazy trick where we're going to land on top of that hangar back there, and then I'll finish up our time by seeing if we can stick one right on top of that hangar that doesn't have anything on it. Because why not? You got a STOL aircraft. Well, that L stands for landing, so this will be about as short a landing as you can imagine. Pretty good, although I think I went a little too far with... Okay. Well, we tried anyway. So I hope you had fun. I had fun for certain. I'll see you next time.